Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is RBT, and welcome to the final episode of this mini experiment series to top off all the divisional combinations into one mega test to see which NFL division is actually the best. Throughout the past couple weeks on the channel, what we have done is combined every division into one team to see how well they will do throughout an NFL season, see if they can actually win the Super Bowl. But in today's video, we're combining all those into one season. And in this particular connected franchise, every single NFL division is represented by one team. Every division has all their teams, all the team's best players combined into one team. We're going to sim this season and see which NFL division Madden 18 actually thinks is the best by seeing which team actually wins the Super Bowl. Now, what will be absolutely hilarious is if we spent all this time making these rosters, or making this roster, sim of the season, and a team that actually doesn't have all the combined players and the one wins the Super Bowl, that would just make me cry and die and laugh. But I don't think Madden's that crazy. It's pretty crazy, but not that crazy, but who knows. Just gonna have to see how the experiment goes. So hopefully you guys do enjoy today's video, and if you do, make sure to drop a like. If you guys have any more ideas for Madden 18 experiments, let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to drop the like on the video if you do enjoy. Let's see if we can smash 2,000 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn on the notification bell if you haven't. But with that said, I'm not going to go over every single roster. Just going to show you the best players on each team and show you which team every division is represented by, because we've already gone over every roster in every individual video. And at the end, we'll show you the stats from every team. So in that case, you'll actually see the roster then. So I don't want this video to be way too long, but hopefully it's still an enjoyable video. So the AFC North obviously going to be represented by the Cleveland Browns. Next, as we see here, the AFC West is going to be represented by the Kansas City Chiefs. Some pretty talented players here. Next, the NFC East is going to be represented by the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, who have a pretty good and pretty stacked team as well. Now, the NFC South is going to be represented by the Atlanta Falcons, with once again a very talented team. All these teams are pretty freaking talented, obviously, with 4 teams being combined into every single one. Now, moving on to the AFC South is going to be represented by the Jacksonville Jaguars, who did win the division this season. Next, the NFC North is going to be represented by the Detroit Lions, and by judging by the stats, the top 7 players or so, I mean, obviously that's good players, but not as good as depth, I would say, in terms of overall than some of the other divisions we've seen thus far. Next, we have the New England Patriots representing the AFC East with a pretty good goddamn top 7 players. Next, we have the NFC West being represented by the LA Rams with a pretty good top 7 players with a pretty good 1-2 punch at the running back position, by far the best out of any team in today's video. And that actually was all 8 divisions. So with that said, boys, if you've watched all these videos, and even if you haven't watched them, let me know in the comment section below which team you believe is going to win the Super Bowl in today's experiment. And also, in real life, let me know which division in the NFL you think is the most talented and will win the Super Bowl if all the teams combine into their own mega super team in terms of each and every NFL division. So with that said, gonna sim to the playoffs. And what division do I predict? I'm going to say the NFC West. The NFC West is my prediction. Let's sim to the playoffs and see if there's any surprises. So here we go, my dudes, into the playoffs, and the AFC North does get a first round bye. Now it's time to see which division had the best record in the NFL. The Browns go 15-1. So that's pretty freaking impressive. Now, judging by the standings and judging by the coach of the year, the LA Rams, I think, which was actually my prediction in NFC West, might have had the best year, since our coach did win the coach of the year. And the LA Rams, dog, look at me. Look at me. I'm the one. I'm the way, I'm the myth, I'm the legend, I'm the guy. So the Rams do go 16-0, and it's pretty freaking even across the board, as all of the divisions either go 16-0, and the AFC South is the only division to lose more than 1 game, as they lose 2. So I guess it actually makes sense, because even as a Titans fan, who's obviously in the AFC South, I'd probably agree that the fact that the AFC South is the worst division in terms of talent in the NFL. So I guess this makes sense, but that's actually kind of crazy how consistent this is. One team goes 16-0, the rest of the teams go 15-1, and then I think considerably the worst division in the NFL has the worst record by 2 games. So I actually think that's pretty freaking interesting, my dudes. And the teams that actually surprise and do well Outside of the top 8 divisions, the Colts, Vikings, Giants, and Dolphins all make the playoffs, which is hilarious. And if one of these teams actually win a playoff game and like go to Super Bowl, dog, I'm gonna cry of laughter. So according to this is gonna be a very even playoff. And it's going to be interesting to see if the NFC West, who's the only team that does go undefeated, ends up grabbing a dub, which we all know it could be different things in terms of schedule. I'm not going to look through every single schedule. I might look at the AFC South schedule. The reason this very well might have finished how it did in terms of standings is the Rams might have been the only team out of the 8 that ended up not having to play one of the other divisions and vice versa. So the playoffs is really going to be the ultimate deciding factor of who actually is the best division in the NFL. I do want to check out the Jaguars schedule though to see who they lost to. They lost to a team that's not a division. That's going to be funny as well. And after this, we'll go check the stats from every single division to see if we had any standouts. But I do want to check the AFC South schedule and see if they had any hilarious losses on the schedule. So looking into the regular season, they lose game 1 against the Texans, who is like the Texans without their best player. So that just makes no sense at all. Barely beat the Titans. Lose to the Rams, which is understandable, by 3 touchdowns. So that shows you the difference in talent in both of the divisions. And last but not least, lost to the Browns by 10 points, which is the AFC North. So lost to one team that wasn't a division, which is funny, but that's why Madden is absolutely wild. So let's see who does end up winning the MVP. The Browns had the best offense in the NFL and the 4th best defense in the NFL. So looking at yearly awards, Alex Smith actually wins the MVP. Hilarious. And every player out of the top 10 is on a team that is a full division. So no real surprises here. Leonard Fournette had a great year. Alex Smith, that's probably a surprise with Alex Smith actually winning the division, or winning the MVP. Looking at each division in terms of their team stats, as you see, the Patriots are with a lot less yards than I would have thought of, and the Rams with a lot less yardage as well, especially being the top team in the NFL record-wise. So that's kind of weird. And whoever had the best defense, that goes to the Rams. So maybe that's why the Rams did so well. Considerably the best defense in the NFL, giving up 300 less yards than any other team. So maybe they're right in terms of the defense winning championships, and the Jaguars, the AFC South, by far had the worst defense. So first, going to the AFC North, Ben Roethlisberger led the division with 50 touchdowns, 7 picks, only sacked 28 times, which is actually a lot for an offensive line composed of 4 teams, but 4,500 yards, which is pretty good. Rushing yard wise, Le'Veon Bell, 1,800 yards and 17 touchdowns. That's insane. And Juju Smith, who actually wasn't on the top team, leads the division in receiving yards with 1,400. AJ Green led the AFC North team with 976 yards, and touchdowns goes to Antonio Brown, who actually led the division in yards. Mike Wallace also had 1,000 yards in the division with 10 touchdowns, and Antonio Brown had 19. Now moving on to defense in terms of sacks, we had Cameron Hayward with 17.5. Terrell Suggs also had 10.5. So a pretty good statistical year for the AFC North. Now moving on next to the AFC South, the worst division out of this video thus far. Andrew Luck didn't even have that great of a year. 29 touchdowns, 16 picks, 4,800 yards. Not great for a team that was combined of 4. Allowed 40 sacks, which is pretty awful for a team like this. Leonard Fournette, though, 29 rushing touchdowns. No wonder he was in the top 10 of the MVP race. That is actually absurd. Moving on to the receiving yards, it's raining outside, so if you hear the rain hitting my window, I'm sorry, nothing I can do about Mother Nature hating my life. Now, receiving yard wise, the leader was DeAndre Hopkins with 1,110 touchdowns, was the leader here. And defensively, last but not least, the sack total goes to J.J. Watt with 19, and Malik Jackson also added with 12. Moving on next to the AFC East, the leading passer was Tom Brady, 4,400 yards, 52 touchdowns, 12 picks, only sacked 18 times. The best offensive line in terms of pass protection thus far. LaShawn McCoy led the division, 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. Receiving wise, we had Gronk lead the division with 91 catches. The leading receiver yardage wise goes to Julian Edelman, only one receiver in the whole entire division with over 1,000 yards. That's wild. And he also led the division with 14 touchdowns. Now defensively, we had leading the division in sacks goes to Trey Flowers with 17, and we had Koa Missy with 12.5. Now moving on to the next division in the AFC West, we have Alex Smith leading the division with 49 touchdowns, 9 picks, 4,500 yards, was good enough to win him the MVP. Only sacked 15 times, so that's a new record in this video. I think the least I've ever seen in any combination video has been like 12 or 13, so that's close. Have to see if any other division can beat that in today's video. Rushing yard wise goes to Marshawn Lynch, who apparently was the leading rusher for the AFC West, 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. They had Melvin Gordon with 19 touchdowns, which is pretty crazy. Now, the leading receiver was Keenan Allen with 1,300 yards and 18 touchdowns. That's insane. Now, sack leader does go to Von Miller with 21.5. Melvin Ingram had 18.5. Adrian Claiborne on the Broncos had 17.5, and Aldon Smith had 10. So a lot of sacks from the AFC West. Now, moving on into the NFC, Aaron Rodgers led the NFC North with 50 touchdowns, 8 picks, 4,500 yards, and only sacked 23 times. Pretty good. Rushing yard wise goes to Jordan Hayward, 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, and receiving yards goes to Adam Thielen. Had the most catches, but receiving yards go to Jordy Nelson and Stephon Diggs over 1,000, and looks like Kyle Rudolph led the division with 12 touchdown receptions. Moving on to defense, last but not least in the NFC North, sack leader goes to Everson Griffin with 16. Now moving on to the next division, which will be the NFC South. Leading passer was Matt Ryan, 43 touchdowns, 10 picks, only 3,800 yards, which is weird because Matt Ryan normally gets more rushing or passing yards than that in a regular season without like the best players in the division, but that's wild. Only sacked 21 times, so that's pretty good too. Rushing guard wise, Devontae Freeman with 1,700 yards, 11 touchdowns, and Alvin Kamara also added with almost 1,019 touchdowns. So 30 touchdowns combined between their top two rushers. Receiving guard wise, the leading receiver, the most catches went to a player not on the AF or NFC South team, which was Anquan Bolden. Julio Jones had the most receiving yards, which is 1,200, which is more normally he has more than that in a regular season too. So this is weird, but did have 13 touchdowns through the air. And last but not least, for the NFC South, sack leader goes to none other than Cameron Jordan with 19. And they had Ezekiel Ansah. I don't know how. A lot of players end up getting cut, by the way, so that's why some players are on different teams. So that's why Ezekiel Ansah is obviously on the Carolina Panthers, because when you combine all the teams into one, the cap room is, or the number of players, the roster size is way over the limit. So a lot of players get cut by the CPU, and that's why they end up other places. But anyways, hopefully you understand that. But with that said, now moving on next to the NFC East. We have only one more division. That's just crazy. We actually have Davis Webb led the division with 3,700 yards. So I'm guessing the Eagles ran the ball a lot. He was only sacked 9 times. That by far is a record for any combination video ever. I've never seen a quarterback only get sacked in the single digits. That is absolutely insane. Combination, probably the skill of the O-line and the amount of times they actually passed the ball, which seems like a lot less than any other team. But moving along, Carson Wentz did have 45 touchdowns, 6 picks, 3,700 yards passing. Nick Foles on the Redskins, they're 15 picks. That's not the real Nick Foles. Can't be. Ezekiel Elliott led the division with 1,900 yards, almost 2,000 yards, which is incredible, and 11 touchdowns. And LeGarrette Blount also added with 17 touchdowns. Receiving yards goes to Cole Beasley, had the most catches, but the leading receiver goes to Terrell Pryor. Leading receiver on the Eagles was Dez Bryant with 861 and 14 touchdowns. Odell Beckham with only 800 yards and 10 touchdowns. Defense, the leading sack guy in the NFC East goes to Brandon Graham with 21.5. DeMarcus Lawrence also has 13.5. That's pretty good. Last but not least, out of all the stats, is a lot of talking in a row. NFC West, Austin Davis led the division in passing yards with 3,700. Russell Wilson all the way down in third. I guess they just didn't pass the ball a lot. 31 touchdowns, 6 picks, only sacked 12 times. So they definitely relied on the running game. Rushing guard wise, David Johnson with 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, and Todd Gurley 1,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. Almost a touchdown in every 10 attempts running the football, which is insane. 40 rushing touchdowns combined between the top 2 rushers on the team. That's incredible. Receiving yards, most receptions goes to John Brown, but leading receiver in the division goes to Jerron Brown. So many Browns, god dang. 1,000 receptions or 1,000 yards there. Leading receiver for the Rams was Doug Baldwin and Larry Fitzgerald with 800 and 800 respectively, and both had 9 touchdowns. Last but not least, out of all the stats, I'm tired of talking because my throat hurts. Leading sack leader goes to Michael Bennett with 21.5. Aaron Donald had 18. Sheldon Richardson had 11. That's pretty effing good. Now, with that said, boys, enough stat talking because my brain hurts from all the talking I just did. Let's see which team does, in fact, win the Super Bowl. I'm sticking with my prediction saying the NFC West, so can the AFC North beat the AFC East? Let's advance into the Conference Championship week. Can we grab the dub? And we don't? Did we? Hello? The Browns lost? Okay, so the Browns did lose. I don't know why I didn't say anything about like adding or signing practice squad players, but we did lose. So the AFC North apparently grabs the L to the AFC East. So let's check out the playoff schedules up to this point. So looking at the playoff schedule, let's see how the wild card round went. Did any division be in the wild card round? So the Patriots destroyed the Dolphins 54-0. So they had to beat the Dolphins to get to us. The NFC North beats the Giants 47-7. The Jaguars beat the Colts 56-0. And the Eagles beating the Vikings 49-3. So taking care of business when they very well should have. Now in the divisional round, the AFC South beats the AFC West. So in terms of record, the worst team gets past one of the better teams in the Kansas City Chiefs, barely by 5 points. That's surprising, and this is surprising as well. The Eagles, the NFC East, demolishes my prediction and the only undefeated team on the season by 3 touchdowns. That's wild. In the wow, we did. Whoa, I'm confused. Wait, we did beat the Patriots, but why aren't we playing? Did I accidentally sim 2 weeks? I think I did. My bad if I did. Huh. So I accidentally simmed 2 weeks, but anyways, moving along. So we did beat the AFC East by 8, and the NFC North beats the NFC South 28-16. Now the conference championship game, wow, the Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the AFC South, make it all the way to the Super Bowl, although they did by far have the worst record out of any division. So this game's crazy. And the NFC North ends up beating the NFC East, who beat the best team in the league record-wise, NFC West, by 3 touchdowns. The Lions, the NFC North, looking like the best team thus far, which is crazy because I said they were probably the worst team. Looking at the overalls, what do I know? I'm an idiot. So we did make it to the Super Bowl. I accidentally simmed 2 weeks at a time. So we have the NFC North, who I said was the worst team, like rating-wise, out of this whole entire experiment, taking on the worst team record-wise in the Jacksonville Jaguars, who went 13-3. So this is not what I expected out of the Super Bowl, but I guess all we can do is advance the goddamn thing and see who wins. So this is crazy. Did not expect this to happen. If the AFC South actually wins, having the worst record, and after I said they were like the worst team, like worst division in the NFL, like dog, I don't know what to think about Madden experiments ever again. So with that said, boys, time to see who actually won the Super Bowl. It is going to be the best division in the NFL according to Madden 18 goes to, wow, the NFC North, according to Madden, by far is the best division in the NFL, beating the AFC South, who squeaked their way into the Super Bowl 45-7. So the team that I said had the worst roster, being an idiot that I am, Madden comes back, EA comes back, tells me, you're a goddamn idiot, as they win the Super Bowl in the whole entire divisional experiment, 45-7. So do you guys think Madden 18 got it right or wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully guys did enjoy this experiment, and if you did, make sure to drop a like. Let's see if we can smash 2,000 likes. If we're under 2,000 likes, smash a like so we can get there. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on the notification bell. If you haven't, let me know of any future experiment ideas you do have in the channel in the comment section below. But with that said, I will catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.